Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation on the project Green Passport for Software. My name is Minnaleena and I will be walking you through our pitch presentation. So even if it might seem that digital is not material, the ICT sector is actually one of the big contributors to the climate crisis. It is estimated that it is producing roughly 3% of the global CO2 emissions, and it is using up to 10% of all global electricity produced. That is more than Japan or Germany's annual consumption. With Green Passport for Software, we try to help organizations to comply with increasing amount of sustainability laws, to help them understand the environmental impact of their software, and to help them communicate their sustainability efforts across stakeholders. These procurement people in different organizations might have questions like which provider should I choose, which metrics and criteria should I choose for my project, and who should I trust with these measurements. It might be very overwhelming. On the flip side, the software providers might be wondering how to introduce sustainability to the developers' workflows with as little effort as possible, and how to communicate sustainability to their clients, and which metrics should they choose to make it as efficient as possible. And on this slide, you can see an example of a customer journey with Green Passport for Software, including onboarding, assessment of the project, improvements to the project, and then at the end, validation with report stamps and legislative benefits. Now, you might ask yourself, why would I need a Green Passport for Software for my organizations? Well, GPS will help bridge the gap between developers and organizations and help build trust so that they will get reports and actionable recommendations on how to advance their sustainability goals and make their software more sustainable. GPS will also provide guidance on how to meet the sustainability goals set by legislative bodies and their parental organizations. So what would the Green Passport for Software look like in practice? Here we have some UI sketches of the developer's view project summary page with active projects and inactive projects on the left-hand side. And in the center in the first tab, you have project summary of the progress you've made in the current project that you're viewing. There is some project information such as a timeline, version history, project details, planned stakeholders, and legislation. There is also a list of project KPIs which have been chosen with the project team at the beginning of the project so that you can set targets and see the progress you make during the project. In this slide, we're still in the developer's view with test feature tab. In this tab, you can submit a file of code, user interface, or other, submit it to the service, and have it analyzed for sustainability criteria. This results in a report which can then be viewed by project lead or clients in the communications section. The testing logs are also available for iterations, and you can go back or forward in the testing history. So nothing of your progress will be lost, and you can do flexible iterations depending on your target. For example, some results might give better sustainability scores, but they might be worse for accessibility or the brand image of the company you're making the project for. So all of this has to be done in tandem and in communication with the client and with the project team. Let's move on to the client's view. As we know, not all organizations that use digital services, such as schools and hospitals, are full of tech-savvy people, and the procurement people might not be an exception. So it might be hard for these people to ask for sustainability criteria to be met in their projects. In client's view with Green Passport for Software, they can set and prioritize project sustainability criteria, aka KPIs, into high, medium, and low priority, depending on what they want and what they need for their organization. These will be guided by industry legislative minimums and also custom requirements. They can also set an acceptable success rate for these KPIs, which then will be fulfilled by the software. These KPIs and limits can also be adjusted during the project, or they can be solidified as a part of the procurement process before the sustainable software provider has been chosen. And this brings us to the receipt function. The goal of Green Passports for software is to provide a carbon score for the evaluated software product and a full report on what is using up the resources in the software product. In this receipt, you have interactive visualization of different parts of the software, including servers, design, and code. It also has detailed insights on what is using up electricity, for example, and how it could be improved. There is also a scope multiplier used in feature to help you get the scope on how to get the most impact. For example, if a service is used in many municipalities, even small changes can have big impacts. We also have an embodied carbon element in the receipt to help make sense of the equipment and hardware you're using with the said software. There is also two-tier reporting, public and private, to help organizations have the control over their data. This minimum available data will always be regulated through legislation, of course, but not everything needs to be public. Something is always just for the organizations. Making software more sustainable should be a priority for all industries, but unless you're still wondering why should I do it, here is a list of some legislation that has been in development during the past 10 years. There's already some practical implementations of sustainable software certification and legislation, like the Blue Angel certificate expansion from hardware to also software in Germany this year, and impact framework from Green Software Foundation. There really is no time to waste. So by 2030, the legislation will probably start rolling out. And on top of all that, electricity will likely become scarce. Due to the recent boom in AI, Gartner predicts that power shortages will restrict AI data centers by as early as 2027. So any organization interested in software should also be interested in making it sustainable. Will your organization be ready for this? So if your organization is ready to save costs and save the planet and be among the first pioneers of digital sustainability, please contact us at Green Passport for Software.